Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. In my last video I showed how to create better proofs, and one of the examples was for this greeting card design with this foil pattern and this die cut. Somebody reached out to me and said they would like me to share the full design process, so I figured I'd go ahead and do that for you today. So the first thing that we're going to need to do is obviously have a photo. I have that photo here that I just downloaded. This is a different photo than the sample I just showed you, but this is going to be whatever photo you're going to need for your greeting card. The other thing you're going to need is some kind of foil pattern. This case I just found the silver foil pattern design online. If maybe you had a gold one like the sample here, or red, whatever the case is. Just find something online. It doesn't have to be high res because you're just going to be using that part of the design process as a proof. So it doesn't really need to be high quality. And obviously the last part of the greeting card design is this scalloped edge die cut. Now if you're good with the pen tool in Illustrator or InDesign, you can create this from scratch. There's also some other ways that you can create it using shapes, or if you're a little bit lazy like me, you can probably find a die line like this online already. The place I like to go to is called Freepik. I highly recommend, if you have not already signed up for a Freepik account, you do so. They have lots of great vectors, photos, they have mock-ups now, so it's a great resource for graphic designers, especially for things like this where you don't want to create something from scratch. So what I've searched for is scalloped, and I have my asset type set to vector and my license to free, and this is the design here that we're going to go ahead and pull that frame from. So I'm just going to go ahead and download this. Now I've already downloaded it, so it's on my desktop here. And it comes in as a EPS file, which I'm going to right click and open in Adobe Illustrator. I'll just hit yes to the warning there. And as you can see here, there is this pink background, which I don't want. I just want this scallop edge here. So I'm going to open up my layers, and I'm going to delete the items that I don't want, and I'm going to be left just with this scallop frame here. It's set with a white fill, which is fine. There's no stroke, which is okay. And all I'm going to do is just right click and hit copy. And now I'm going to go into InDesign to start my actual greeting card design. So I'm going to create a new file. This is going to be 7 by 5, one page only. And it's going to be a 0.125 bleed on all 4 sides. So I'm going to go ahead and hit create. First thing I'll do is just hit save. And I'm just going to call this greeting card 5 by 7, and I'll hit save. Now I want to go ahead and I want to set up my layers. So I need to have several layers for the die cut, for the actual print layer. So I'm going to go ahead and set those up right now. In my layers here, my first layer is going to be called my print layer, or actually I'm going to call this I'll call it photo print layer. I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to call this photo proof layer. Then I need to set up a layer for the foil pattern. So I'm going to call this foil print layer. Another one called foil proof layer. And my last one is going to be original text. And the original text is important because if you make edits somewhere down the road, at one point we're going to outline these fonts. So it's helpful to have the original text unoutlined, so that in case you need to make some edits, you still have the ability to do so. So now that I have my layers set up, I'm going to go ahead and lock everything except for the photo proof layer. And I'm going to go ahead and just hit paste. Oops, I need to be on the right layer here. Okay, so paste on my foil proof layer. And now this is the scallop design. So right now I'm going to change this fill to the stroke and make sure the fill is empty. I'm going to change the fill color to this magenta here. I'll double click on that and I'll change it from process to spot, and this is going to be my die line, and I'm going to make this just 1/2 point in thickness. I'm going to rotate this over, and I'm going to make sure I'm centered up on the middle of the pasteboard, and this is going to be 5 by 7 in size. 5, oops, my number lock on. Yeah, 5 by 7. And now I have my die line ready to go. Actually, I'm going to right click here and just go content and make sure it's a graphic, because we're going to place that photo in here in just a moment. For now, we're going to go back to our photo print layer, and I'm going to create a new frame that stretches all the way across our bleed area. And I'm going to go up to File, Place, and I'm going to place in that picture, that photo, and I'll just go ahead and right click and make sure the fitting is fill frame proportionally, and this sets up pretty nicely. This is fine. If you have a photo, maybe you need to make a little adjustments as far as sizing and positioning, but for this example, this should work just fine. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to lock my photo print layer and hide it, and then I'm going to go back to my photo proof layer, click on my frame, and go to paste into. And now this is going to be my proof layer that I'm going to send out to my customer for proofing purpose. So we're done with that. We're going to go ahead and lock that, and then we're going to go to our original text layer and create our text here. So I'm going to say Merry Christmas. Change my font. I like this cursive bright wall. And we'll just go ahead and make this size of 50. We'll center it up. And that should be pretty good. So we'll just leave it right there, just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this. I'll lock my original text layer and hide it. And I'm going to go to my foil print layer. And I'm going to go ahead and hit paste in place. Now from here, I'm going to go ahead and go to type. And I'm going to go to create outlines. Now now that the font is outlined, it basically acts like a frame that I can go ahead and put my foil pattern in. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change the swatch color to this yellow for the fill. And I'm going to change the swatch to a spot color, and I'm going to call this foil. And this is going to be important when you go to do your print. You want to make sure that you have this set as a spot color, especially if this is going to be sent to a third party to do an actual like foil stamp. That's always important. So I'll hit OK there, and now I have my foil set up on my foil print layer. I'm going to go ahead and copy this. I'll lock this, hide it, unlock my foil proof layer, and paste it in place. And here I can now go ahead and I can apply the foil pattern to make it look more realistic for the proofing purposes. So File, Place. I have my foil pattern here that I just found on the internet. I'm going to hit open, hit OK, and then I'll just go ahead and make sure that it is fit to frame. So now I have my Merry Christmas here all set up. This is going to be what I'm going to send to my customer for a proof. So I'm just going to go ahead and go to File, Export this as a PDF, and I'll just call this proof. Save. I want to make sure my document bleed settings are turned on. I'm going to hit export, and in just a moment it'll export this PDF, and this is what we're going to send to our customer for a proof. Now the good news is, if they come back to you and they say, I want to change this from like Merry Christmas to Season's Greetings or something else, by having this original text layer, you preserve the text so you can make changes, and then you can essentially repeat the last few steps of the process so that you can make the change and still have the foil pattern set up properly and the foil proof pattern set up properly for your customer. But this is it. This is how it's going to look. This gives them a more realistic look of how the foil is going to look, how the scalloped edge of the card is going to look once it's been die cut. So this is a great representation of the actual printed piece. And then let's say they go ahead and they approve it and they say, let's go forward and go ahead and print this out. You're going to have to go ahead and show your print layer. You're going to hide your proof layer, and you're going to hide your foil pattern, and you're going to export this as a PDF, and this is going to be your base layer for your print. Then you're going to go ahead and you're going to show your foil print layer, hide your photo print layer, and send it again. Either this is going to be sent as a foil stamp, or if you have a sleeker and you can go ahead and laminate and do the foil lamination like that, you'll send this as a second step after the job has been printed on the photo print layer, and then it's been sent through a sleeker. You'll print this layer here. The last step is if you're going to send this to a third party to have the scalloped edge made as a die, you can go ahead and unlock this layer. Just direct select, hit delete, and now you can export this die line. Then you can either send it to a third party, like I said, to have a die line made, and then you're going to use, maybe a Heidelberg windmill or something like that to die cut the shape, or you can send it over to a digital die cutter to have it cut out the shape on the cutter. So that's the step-by-step on how to create a greeting card with foil and with a die cut. I hope that's helpful, especially for those of you who are struggling to figure out, the layers and how everything's set up. Like I said towards the beginning of the video, with these die lines, you don't have to create something like this on your own. If you use a source like Freepik, you can find tons of different wonderful already created frames that you can use in your in your greeting cards. Maybe you want like this lace look or something else. There's tons of examples here that you can use that'll work properly in just the same way that I showed you in this video. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comment section below. I try to answer as many as I can, and obviously I try to do follow-up videos. So if you have a specific question, you want to see something down the road, please ask away, and I will be happy to try to do a video for that specific question sometime in the near future. I appreciate the views as always, folks. Please leave a like, share, and subscribe if you already haven't subscribed. If you want to support the channel a little bit more, please check out the Patreon. And as always, I will catch you on the next one. Take care.